Hi, I'm Letitia Mile. Welcome to Internet Protocol with Tish. Riddle me this. What do glass, china, and a reputation all have in common? All can be easily cracked and never mended well. Benjamin Franklin said that. And what a reputation he had, right? Speaking of reputations, Warren Buffett said it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. Frightening. Think about it. Your reputation is how people judge you. Your reputation precedes you before making eye contact and giving a hearty handshake. Your reputation is the most important asset you have, something that could make or break your relationships, your jobs, and in our connected world, your future. We all remember when Representative Anthony Weiner recently resigned from Congress after admitting he tweeted revealing photos of himself in his underwear. Try pulling yourself out of that global reputation tailspin. Self-inflicted or not, once it's on the internet, it's out there. Once you press send, poof, there's no return. The damage is swift. And in this connected world, the damage is far-reaching and long-lasting.
Somebody who knows all too well what it's like to have their reputation ruined online is Doug Bliss. Doug, you were right in the middle of the Casey Anthony trial, labeled as a juror, incorrectly so, because you weren't on the jury. How did that happen?
You know, that's a good question, Tish. I don't know how that happened. Basically, it started with a simple phone call on a Wednesday evening asking me my opinion of the trial. When I asked the person calling who they were, they said, well, I got your name from a friend, and I'm calling from Lakeland, Florida. And I said, well, geez, I really don't have an opinion. I didn't watch it. I didn't really read about it. You know, so I really don't have anything to say. And the call ended. It wasn't until the next day when I was grocery shopping that I got a phone call asking me my opinion of the trial. And I said, well, who's calling? And they said, well, this is Good Morning America. And I said, why are you calling me? And she said, well, it's on the web, Facebook and Twitter, that you're one of the jurors on the trial. And I was flabbergasted that that came out because I certainly wasn't one of the jurors, but it certainly made the rounds enough for somebody to contact me. They were able to get my phone number and call me.
And what happened from there? It sounded like it was quite a nightmare for you and your wife.
It was a source on the web called The Dirty, some kind of website that, I don't know what it is they do, but it came out saying that I was a juror, and they posted pictures of me, basically where I live, but not my address, and said that, you know, geez, I'm one of the dumbest people in America today. And then, of course, underneath that are all the comments from their readers. Many of them wanted me to die. One guy went as far as to say, oh, I'm from St. Pete. I know where that guy lives. I'm going to go see him. So at that point, that's when I really started to take this serious. What was really unsettling about it is the fact that there were threats against me and my family and people that wanted to do harm to us. And so we were really concerned about our own safety and whether or not we had to even leave our house and go stay somewhere else for a couple of days. We eventually chose not to do that, but it crossed our minds for sure.
Are you so amazed that it even happened through no fault of your own?
Absolutely. I never paid much attention to that type of thing. But having had that happen to me, I could see how easily that can happen. And I was thinking about this, and I can see how this could be cyberbullying, you know. They just make something up, they put a name to it, a face to it, and say, here you go. And there's certainly enough people out there that would just love to jump on that bandwagon and escalate it. If this were to happen to somebody else, I think the best thing you can do is to not fan the flames and not start, you know, answering and commenting on what you're reading online. I think the best way to go about it is to contact folks like yourself, the news organizations, the police department, that type of thing. As a sideline, I did contact the police department, and I was told there's nothing I could do. from a legal point of view.
Well, online, there are a lot of things you can do. There are reputation managers now who are able to try and push down all the bad publicity on Google search engines, for example. Does that surprise you that there are people like this?
I am, but I can see now why those folks exist. Because certainly for me, to be brought into the most notorious crime and trial, certainly of this new century, but of the decade perhaps, it wasn't a good thing to have happen at all. I mean, it was national in scope, and people had very strong opinions about it. So to have that happen to me and just to see it firsthand, I'm astounded how much it can really get out of hand.
Doug Bliss, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we're glad that you're safe.
Thank you very much, Tish. I appreciate it.
Now let's create some guidelines, some internet protocol that will help all of us better understand how to keep our online reputations in check. Realize that everything you put on the internet is stored on a server somewhere. It's never private and can be used against you. If anyone posts lies about you, pressure them to take those off so they can't add to any misrepresentations and misperceptions about you. Be aware of what's being said about you online. Be careful about who you allow to follow you on Twitter or who you befriend on Facebook. While you might be using these sites to build your career or touch base with your long-lost buddies, you should be equally concerned about the quality of person you're allowing to gain access to your life. Those friends you don't really know might be close to people you don't want knowing your personal business. That's an invitation to spy on you or to possibly do something more sinister to ruin your reputation. Proofread your online bios and personal descriptions because these shed additional light on who you are. Any misspellings or grammatical mistakes compound someone's image of who you are. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't allow people to check me into places that I've never been before. That's the last thing you need, is to have your boss or coworkers assume you're boozing it up during your lunch hour on a Monday, when you're not. So there you have it, Internet Protocol protecting your online reputation. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Internet Protocol with Tish. We look forward to seeing you again next time.